So I have wanted to touch upon one thing, which is the TEDx event. Um,
Okay.
for people who are interested in doing one themselves, what could
Yeah.
you share about that process?
Yeah, there are a few things. So one, I would on the TED website, they have a list of TEDx events, and you can search by geography, and you can search in a few other ways, I think. But they make it easy for you to look ahead, and I would not wait until the last second. I would look out, 6 months or so, and find events that are on the schedule, and then I would start looking at what are they looking for, right? What's the theme? And every TEDx event usually has a theme. And so begin to think about how do I connect to that theme? And then begin to put together your pitch. And I actually did two TEDx events. The first one I did at Duke University in North Carolina, and I did not know that I was about to do another one. But after that event, then at Drake University, they had a speaker who canceled on them. So they reached out to their network, and the people at Duke said, "Hey, Tony did a great job. He doesn't live that far from you. You should invite him in." And so, with like less than 3 weeks' notice, they said, "Hey, would you mind doing another TEDx talk?" And so, completely different subject and not as much time to prepare. But we did it, and I jumped at an opportunity. A friend of mine, Sally Coring-Zimney, coaches speakers. And so with that 3 week window, I reached out to a coach and I got her to help me to get this thing up on its feet and to really work through the TEDx talk and then deliver it.
So how long was it between when you booked and then when you delivered the first one?
Yeah. So the between the book and the first one, I think was probably about 3 months.
Okay.
That's when they first started saying yes. I think about that time period, and the people at Duke University were fantastic. They were all students, and so they said yes to the pitch that I sent them, but then we workshopped the PowerPoints and the conversation, and they gave me some good coaching. Right, so I'm like 150 years old, and I don't remember what it's like to be in college anymore. And so they gave me some good insights as to what their audience was looking for, and we shifted this thing around. And it changed up until like 48 hours before the presentation happened. So a lot of iterations.
I can imagine that being a little intimidating for some people, having your plan changed 48 hours before you have to give it.
Yeah. Generally it was locked in, but there were some tweaks that came at the very last second that obviously continued to improve upon the product. So, just like here, sitting here talking to you, Thomas, it's not about me, right? It's not even about you. It's really about your listeners. And the same thing when you're doing a TEDx talk, it's not about you. If you make it about you, you're going to be a nervous wreck and you're going to be worried, oh, what if I mess up this word? Or, what if I get this slide wrong? Or what if something happens up here and I look like a fool? And that's me focused, right? And it's simply by focusing on your audience and what it is that they need and how you can be of service that it makes it a lot easier then, because it's not about you.
That's a great principle in general to share of being in a group, isn't it? Anyway.
It is. It is.
So you're ready and you're prepared and you've got your slides. What's going through your mind just before you're about to either go on or they're about to start recording?
Yeah. Well, at the one at Duke University, I literally took I probably should lose that word literally, but I did literally take a yellow legal pad, and I just took a pen and I just sat there in the backstage and I just wrote what I was going to say on stage, because it was in my head and I had it up on my feet and I'd done it a lot of different ways, but this was one more way I hadn't done it. So I just sat in the back, in the, green room, if you will, and just took that yellow legal notepad and I just wrote out what I was about to say, because it gave me one more way to express this, and it helped to just embed that into my body. And so that was really what I was doing right before I went on. And then I just took the chance then to stand in the wings and to watch some of the other brilliant speakers, because, I wasn't there alone, and there were just some amazing people who went on before me. Now, one could stand in the wings and watch that and become intimidated because they were brilliant. But their bright candle doesn't dim my bright candle in any way. It's just we can all be brilliant in some way.
So, are you happy with the final delivery? Were you happy or relieved maybe when you stopped and then when was the last time you watched it back, and were you happy with it?
Well, we just passed the 3-year anniversary of that particular TEDx talk. And so, yeah, I was very happy. I can always do better, right? So there's a saying, and I don't know exactly who said it, but they said, if I'd had more time, I would have said less, right? I would have written less. And so I think, if I'd had more time, even though I had 3 months and I worked on it, these things incubate over time. And if I were giving that TEDx talk today, I know some ways in which I would do better. But the goal isn't perfection. The goal is excellence. And so was it excellent? I think it was. It was my best excellence in the moment, the best that I could deliver. So yeah, I think looking back on it, I'm still very happy about it. People still contact me about it. I just did an event for a very large organization, and the way that they found me as a guest speaker was they saw that TEDx talk on the TED website, and it was kind of the same subject line, if you will. It's about the purpose of work, or working on purpose. And so they saw that, and they invited me to do an event for them. So this continues to pay dividends over a long period of time.
Mm. And correct me if I'm wrong, because we rearranged our conversation, and I watched it before our last one, but I haven't watched it in a little bit. It's about having a social cause as a priority. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's really about the purpose of work. So, you and I, we spend 2/3 of our waking hours, we spend 2/3 of our life either asleep or at work. And so if we want to live a life of purpose and meaning, then we have to find a way to bring meaning to that work time, because we're not going to bring meaning to our sleep time. So the way you spend your time is the way you spend your life. And so if you want to live a life of meaning and purpose, then you have to find a way to bring meaning and purpose to your work. And work is a bizarre thing that we do. Sometimes we get in our car and we drive to our job, and we have meetings where we talk about what kind of meetings we need. And, we sit on committees that decide what kind of committees we need. And it's just a very bizarre thing that we do sometimes. But in the end, you can either find meaning within your work, right? There are people who today say, I'm a janitor, so that's not very meaningful. But in an age of COVID-19, that's a very meaningful work, that if you're providing hygiene and sanitation to people, you can seek a new position where you find more meaning. And so you may be in the marketing department, but is there a way for you to have a marketing campaign that has purpose and meaning to you? And then you could start something that has purpose and meaning. And so I talk about 4 different people who went off and launched something that had purpose and meaning in life, and that they make $1 and a difference. They make money, but the money is in service to a mission. So that's another way that we can do it.